Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to do another journey today about why is there death and why is there life? Why are we born and die in this world? What is the purpose of that specific it's like why is that cycle exist? So I want to go into that energy right away and just see what it is that Spirit wants to share with us on that specific topic. And I see myself getting old and turning into literally dust. And I just like literally blow apart and my dust goes into the earth itself and we become dirt. It's funny because dirt is simply just a byproduct of dead things. That's what they're saying. It's so true though. Like, we're constantly walking in dirt, which is dead things. Soil is dead things. Like, you could say it's rocks, it's plants, it's everything that dies becomes soil in some form. Dust. So you could say the earth, the crust, is the byproduct of death. And what is alive is above the crust. So you could say the plants and the greenery of the earth are above the crust. So as soon as we go into the crust of the earth, we go into death itself. So why, as a human being, are we alive and then we die? Or why are we born? If we're spirits, why can't we just be a spirit? Why do we have to come in a physical body? As a baby, grow old and die. I'm being brought forward into the future, very far in the future. The planet's a different place. Religion does not exist here in the way that we would normally think it. Like, it's really, really, really far in the future, or a possible future, they're saying. A future where we've moved away from the idea of death because we've conquered death. We've been able to create what we would say a body that never dies. It is literally a body that never dies. What happens is that it's almost like we create a body, a baby. That baby is then put into an actually living organism, like a non-living organism, like a robot, you could say, but it's way more complicated than that. And that biological system eventually degrades and becomes part of this other system. The energy around it, the mind, the soul of that baby goes into the actual machine itself. A machine's a good way to describe it, but it isn't really a machine. It's almost like, it looks more like people. This looks like us. There's no difference. We look exactly the same. If anything, enhanced. We're perfect shape, whatever shape that we want to. We can even change our shape by simply changing if we want to be overweight, we're overweight. We want to be built like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was young, then we'll be built like him. We can have any body shape we want. We can either be male or female. It doesn't matter. But we never die. It shows what happens over time. Time goes by, like it seems to work really well for hundreds of years. Then something switches, changes, and this world completely forgets who and what they are, like where they came from. They don't even remember the biological aspect of things, because that ceases to be important after a while, because it's almost like when you get to a certain point, we didn't give a shit about anyone else. We just cared about ourselves. And we stopped reproducing the way we used to reproduce. And because we just wanted to live forever, and the world was getting overpopulated, so we just ceased to stop making children, you could say, making babies. So we continued to grow old. Not grow old, we just never grew old. So it's just, we always were whatever shape and whatever age we wanted to be. We could be any age we wanted, except you have to be a specific, like, you can't become a baby, for instance. You still have to be, you can be a child though. It's just very strange, because we lose touch with reproduction entirely. And it shows that we close ourselves off to the rest of the universe, the rest of our solar system. We just keep ourselves isolated. We take over our solar system and never move past it. We have no intention to. We keep people out, actually. We don't want anybody bothering us, because they are almost like a disease. We become so into ourselves that anything that is different becomes like a disease. We don't want to have anything to do with it, but we're almost considered ourselves, because we never die. Like, I'm talking thousands and thousands of years go by, and there's a very, very weird sense of change of what it is that we are, because now we live forever. We never die, so there's no concept of death. There's no concept of spirit. There's no concept of even birth. It's all forgotten about. So we simply exist that we are never going to die. There is no death. We don't even know what that is anymore. Crime has been eliminated long before. So even the concept of killing is gone. It's just working together. But becomes very stagnant. Just thinking of this concept for a bit and wondering about it. And what exactly does any of this mean to me or to the people that are listening? So what happens to this? They're almost like they're in their own bubble, their own sphere of reality. And they create such a thick wall that there is no connection to the spirit realm at all, zero. So they don't even know what that is. They don't even know anything, because another 1,000 years goes by. It's not that they're unhappy. Because they were so advanced to begin with, they have already eliminated so many things, and there was so much art and music, and like, even like, we do travel within our own solar system, but we decided a long time ago to not leave our solar system. But there is people that think about it. What is outside of this? Like, there is like a small insurgent of trying to remember who they are. But as another 1,000 years go by, it's almost like it gets quieted down. It disappears. And they just keep living their life. So is it wrong that these beings have chosen this life, this path? So if there was no death, this is in a way what would happen. They would just continue to exist in basically in their own bubble without understanding what it is and where they come from. We're born into this world and we die in order to know where we came from. There's questions, like this race had questions about it, but there was never any way of proving it. So they dismissed it. And eventually over time that dismissal was permanent. And people just stopped thinking about life and death because it didn't happen anymore. These bodies were just, they're able to reform and grow, and the cells never die. The soul never leaves. So the soul forgets who and what they are. They're already sent here to forget anyway. But when you're here for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years, you really forget about everything. And all you have is what exists in your own physical world. The reason they're telling me that we have death is so we remember how to find our way back home, to discover who and what we are. If we figured out how to stop that process, we would never remember what we are. We would create an alternate reality that isn't really the truth, that never would have access to the truth and who and what we are. It's like going into a movie that never ended, and you didn't know that you're in a movie. It's like in a dream, you could say, that never ended, and you never died, and so you would always be stuck in that dream, never knowing that you're actually dreaming. So why can't we just simply come here as adults and leave as adults? Why do we have to grow old and die? And why do we have to be young? There's also an aspect of life and rebirth in this world. Like even the trees, the plants, the animals, they're born, they die. Everything is born and die is in this reality. That's what it is. It's as a born as a death. Even the universe has a beginning. Does it even have an end? We don't know. But assuming that it's possible that there would be an end to the universe, then what? I know there's some interesting things they're sharing with us but why is it that we are born and die? Like, why is everything like that? There must be another explanation. I see a book close. And I see two people that are kind of upset with each other, yelling back and forth, two older people. I see a world spinning. And they're talking about ideas. And I see one of them is pushed into the world. Like literally taken by the head and pushed into the world. and become part of the world. And I see many years later that he is reborn again, and this old man now is talking to him when he's waking up. And there's no arguing anymore. The man is actually just listening quietly to what this man, the man that pushed him down into this world, the man that came back from that world that was pushed into it, is quiet now, listening to the other man. And he doesn't argue anymore. He shakes his head in acknowledgement and says he understands now why it must be this way. Because it's a world about sacrifice, it's a world about learning, it's a world about growing old and dying. It's all part of the process. Because when you don't have that, you never die, so there's no concept of life and death. And it's about love and destruction. It's like the life and death process is about learning. Because when you're a spirit, you never die. So how are you supposed to understand that concept? And all this pain and the suffering that creates is also part of learning. So without this world, if the world didn't have any death, this wouldn't be, how would you say, the way that it's meant to be. It's not, the learning isn't the same. The learning would be totally different. So part of the learning is learning how to take care of the innocent when you're a baby, to take care of an old man when he's old, and everything in between, because without the stages of life and death, we would not have the same level of learning that we do now. And as a spirit, there is no such thing as that. So how do you teach a soul the meaning of that? You have to live it. You have to go through it. And the more aspects of life and death that you experience, the more wiser as a spirit you become. Well, that's that. It's an interesting concept for sure. I thought it was actually kind of cool. Thank you very much, everyone. If you wish to do a journey with me, you can visit my webpage at almondrossawakening.com or visit my Northern Light page at josephbradleyauroras.com. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.